Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
Hey, welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast. Absolute honor that you have joined the number one industrial and manufacturing related podcast in the universe. I'm not overselling that. Am I overselling that? But it does, however, celebrate the women and men of manufacturing and industry. We celebrate you because you are bold, you are brave, you dare greatly. You're changing lives and you're changing the world. Why not celebrate you each and every day on this particular podcast? And I'm going to tell you, again, you're going to say, Scott, you always have great interviews. Damn right I have good interviews. This one is she's amazing. Let's just put it this way. She brings definite logistics street cred. Her name is Rebecca Kersting. That's Kersting. Cap Logistics and Uptime Logistics are the companies, and she just happens to be the president. Let's get cracking with the interview. All right. Another great interview. Again. I'm not tired of having great interviews. That's exactly correct. Yeah, take that one to the bank. All right. Now, you know I've been talking a lot about collaboration, innovation, and education with a sense of speed, purpose, focus each and every day. And I think you're going to have to get through this next normal with those components in mind. Yeah, okay, you can sit there and say, well, Scott, what about this? What about this? You know, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, so I tried to say collaboration, innovation, and education are keys, and they are. And you got to do it with a sense of speed. Now, here is, from my perspective, one of the biggest industries that got impacted, hammered, drop kicked, was the logistics, supply chain, sourcing, industry as a whole. And they just got hammered. And with all of the changes that are taking place within this country on how to effectively and efficiently bring in products from outside sources, move it efficiently and with a great confidence, and has just been a real absolute challenge. And so on the Industrial Talk Podcast, I've been really focused in on solutions, strategies, specifically to the supply chain logistics and sourcing, opportunities. Now, because I'm not a professional, all I know is that this is important stuff. And you know how I know it's important stuff? Well, outside of the fact that I've been in business for a lot of time, many years, is when I went to the Walmart to pick up some groceries and realized that product wasn't there, I realized how important the supply chain world is to me, to make my life better, to make my life easy. And you know what? It just happened. Pre-virus, it just happened. Didn't know anything about it. Go to the store. There it is. I don't have to think through it. That's what it was all about. Now, with this next normal, what does that mean? Where are we going? What are the challenges? And honestly, I don't have the answers. That's why collaboration is so important. That's why innovation is so important. Because people like Rebecca, her team at Cap Logistics, that's what they excel at. They excel at solving problems. They excel at the opportunity to collaborate with companies who have really problems on solving important supply chain issues. And then they're always innovative because it's so fluid, because it just constantly changes. You need a company, you need solutions that are innovative, and they never stop educating. Do you see how I rolled that all in? Collaboration, innovation, and education. And you know what? Yes, they do. They do it with a sense of frickin' speed. And they're there to help you because they understand that their service is needed so that you can maintain your uptime, business, whatever that looks like, manufacturing uptime. And they're going to also make sure that they do it as efficiently and as rapidly as possible. Yep. They embody Cap Logistics, Rebecca's team at Cap Logistics, They embody the collaboration, spirit of collaboration, the spirit of innovation, and definitely the spirit of education, because I'm telling you right now, I can't keep up with it. All right. How about that? All right, let's get on with the interview. Once again, Rebecca Kersting, Kersting, president of Cap Logistics, as well as Uptime. And she talks about a little bit of the Uptime logistics and why that's important. Two different business models, two different focus, all geared towards success. How about that? All right. Here's the interview. Enjoy. Rebecca, welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast. Absolute honor. It is an honor. I'm telling you right now, it's an honor that you, in your busy schedule, found time to get on the Industrial Talk Podcast. How are you doing?
I am doing great, and you are so fun. This is going to be a good time.
And I'm ugly, and I'm bald. Yes, I'm a complete package, most definitely. Hey, listeners, I've been very fortunate to be able to work with Cap Logistics on a number of initiatives, and Rebecca is the president of Cap Logistics, and we're going to be talking a little bit about COVID. We're going to be talking about the impact of the logistics, supply chain, sourcing, and everything in between. And Rebecca brings a tremendous amount of, street cred to this particular conversation. Before we get into that now, Rebecca, give us a little 411 on who you are and why you're such an incredible professional in the logistics world.
Well, I am humbled by you saying that. I have grown up in logistics. My father started our company when I was a year old. I've been in trucks, picking up freight, moving it all over the country. I still remember going to the Denver International Airport with him when I was little to pick up freight. Been out to mine sites in Wyoming. Wow. And so the business was started in our basement. The story goes that my mom would help answer the phones with me on my lap, and she would hang up and we would both cry. I've officially been with the company for 17 years and had a number of different roles, but I love what we do. It's exciting and it's great to help companies be able to keep their operations running every day.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, especially now, one of the biggest topics, and I mean, I've interviewed a ton of people, and one of the biggest topics is that happened pre-virus, everything, all the supply chain, everything was just happening and just rolling and going and having a fantastic time. Pandemic hits, two-finger death punch, COVID pops you in the head. Now, all of a sudden, that supply chain gets disrupted, yet companies are still dependent on it. Give us a little background on, the positives and negatives. Of course, we want the positives, but we got to touch on the negatives, on where, the impact of COVID to your business happened going forward.
Well, I think initially the impact was just a slowdown of the economy and these key industries in the country. No one knew what a single day looked like. And so initially, I think the strategy for companies was to address their slowing of business while trying to protect their workers. There was already some tension with U.S. trade. There were some things happening in oil and gas and mining. So there was this culmination of complicating factors where we saw a dive in our customers' business and therefore our business. A lot of companies took the approach of shutting things down or slowing them down. They looked for opportunities to save costs. So they stopped purchasing inventory. They stopped doing a lot of things that they would normally do to try to save costs, and things just slowed down.
Yeah, and it was overnight.
It was. It was
a flip of a switch, man. And it's like, yeah, we're rocking it. What the hell?
I know.
We're done.
And everybody thought that it was this temporary thing, and if we all hunker down for 3 weeks, then we'll all be free. And it just didn't pan out in that way.
No, and what's interesting too is in these conversations, and it's amazing how, and being in manufacturing, being in industry, how resilient and flexible some of these companies were. Like it hit, they had this morning time, like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And then all of a sudden they just boom, and they were able to pivot. I hate using the word pivot, but I got to use a pivot word. Pivot and be able to try to succeed in this sort of this new normal, whatever it might look like. Where do you see how it's impacting your business? Where do you see this sort of new normal impacting your business in a positive way, not in a negative? We already understand the negative. So,
well, there were just so many changes that we didn't see coming. So obviously, there's this whole new gamut of product that people were trying to move in PPE. So initially, we saw a lot of that, and you just never would have thought like there was this business of masks and hand sanitizer and all of these things that we just never thought of as key critical items that people were going to be desperate to move. Then as things had begun to normalize, we saw some other industries come back online, and a lot of demand on, paper products or in food and beverage.
I completely forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah.
I didn't forget about the paper product one. And I remember, just FYI, I'm leaving Walmart, whatever it might be, and I'm seeing people just stacking up on paper products. And I'm telling you, I'm sitting there going, what am I missing? What news am I missing that do I have to run back and get it? There's no paper products, and I never could understand it. I survived. I'm still bald and ugly, so.
We all do, and I bet there's a lot of people who have an insane amount of toilet paper hoarded away somewhere. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to get rid of that.
I know, I hear you, and boy, I'll tell you, it was really an interesting. The other item, or the observation that I've seen is that the pre-virus, we just took things for granted, and when I'd go to the store, boom, it's on the shelf. I know it's on the shelf. And they had it all nailed down, right? And this is just me, humble little guy, going to the store. And then all of a sudden, the virus hits, and then bam, I'm thinking to myself, why isn't that on the shelf? And then I realized that the supply chain is disrupted. This one right here might work just fine, but then this one broke down, and then this one can't use it. I didn't realize how sensitive the supply chain is.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So let's talk a little. Where do you see it going? I mean, come on, let's put on a little future hat here. Where do you see it going? Okay, we've been past the paper push, and we've been past all the other stuff, and I think you're better at this. I think industry's starting to come back up. They're starting to just get a little bit more on it. Out there a little bit more, understanding the demands of the market, understanding what this next normal. Do you see that in your business?
So I am very hesitant to try to predict anything because
you'll be wrong. Trust me.
Because I will be wrong. But I have my hopes, and I am seeing some trends that I think are in a positive direction. So during the initial part of the pandemic, we really saw a lot of customers and a lot of industries start to look at where they could control cost. Inventories were a big item that people began to cut. And with that, the transportation of these key components, key supplies, things that they were able to put off. So if it was a manufacturing line or a refinery, the backups for key components, they put those orders by the wayside. Now that things are picking up and they don't have those industries, we are seeing an influx in the critical need of these parts that are necessary to keep these companies up and running.
Yeah, and I think you're bringing up a good point. And I think that as these assets were idle, as you mentioned that I'm going to save money, and I think everybody's sort of in that beginning saving money mode, and now they've got to figure out how to make money. And a key component to making money is being able to get your product either from where they're manufacturing to destination, or their feedstock into their manufacturing process and wherever that might be. And I think that I see a shift. I think I'm not going to be, don't bet on me, anybody out there, please don't. But I think that it's starting to ease up a little bit. And I think that people are starting to recognize this next normal. But a key component, you will never, ever, ever get away from that logistics, that supply chain component. And that's where CAP just shines. It just shines because you're able to do that in a way that makes sense. Because for me, if I was a company, got my company hat on, I have different needs. I have different demands. I have different insights into what my market needs and what my business needs, and therefore my sourcing requirements. The other company, Acme whatever, has completely different, it might be somewhat similar, but completely different. And that's what brings us to this point of being able to sort of customize those solutions. That's what you guys do.
That is. And
solve problems.
I think that's where we've really been able to help our customers through this time is we're very responsive, we're very agile, and we are made of problem solvers. Our team is hired, trained, retained, evaluated based on their ability to solve problems. To be committed to the customers and their solutions, to have a positive attitude and show up every time our phones ring or we get a request through our portal or a text message or however our customer chooses to engage with us. We're there with our problem-solving hat on, ready to help them through their challenges.
See, this is interesting because especially now in this next normal, next opportunity, whatever, I think the need for solutions like that, solving problems within your supply chain, within your logistics, is even more paramount. Because if you're going to survive, and a key component of that is, of course, being able to, manufacture and get it to destinations, so on and so forth. Today, those challenges are even greater. Just because pre-virus, pre-pandemic, okay, it sort of ran. It was all good. All bets are off, and especially when we're starting to talk about new regulations that are taking place globally. I mean, you got to stay on top of that. I can't. Company, I can't. I need somebody to help me.
Yeah, it is. There are just so many complexities right now, and I don't know what tomorrow's going to look like. So being agile is so paramount.
Yeah.
In industry right now.
Oh yeah, and I think that is a great term, and being agile, and so I've always just sort of predicted to be collaborative, innovative, and then educate as fast as possible. This ability to be agile and innovative in solutions within logistics, supply chain, whatever, because some of these, I guarantee you, I bet, I'm going to be bold and I'm going to step out on this limb. I bet you somebody's come to you and said, hey, Rebecca, I don't know how to handle this. This is sort of what we're trying to do, but I don't know I guarantee you that you've got new challenges, and you're going to have to take your team and say, all right, here we go. We got to figure this one out too.
That's what our team loves. They don't have any pre-written solution that's templated out for them.
Yeah.
They come up with the solutions, and not just one. In most cases, we're able to come up with 3 price time options depending on the strategy that our customer has. So if they have a part that they know they don't need immediately, a line's not down yet, but they want it in their inventory, they can look at a mode of transportation that is slower and that is going to be less expensive.
Yeah, you need that. You need these options. You just do. It's like, one size does not fit all, especially in the world of logistics. Now, one of the confusions that I have, and I want you to clarify that, you've got Cap Logistics, great company, been around forever, little younger than your dad. And then you have this other initiative called Uptime. Can you explain a little bit about Uptime and what does that mean?
So Uptime is a term that is used very frequently in reliability and maintenance. And so that audience really understands the importance of keeping a line up and running, because that's how you generate profit. That's how you generate revenue. And so our Uptime Logistics is really focused on those reliability and maintenance professionals who in the past haven't had logistics in their purview, but to have a complete reliability strategy, they need to have a logistics partner in their back pocket for when their reliability and maintenance plan fails. And so,
heaven forbid, fails. You brought up the F word, definitely. But in the real world, it does happen. And reliability professionals, no matter how many PMs they do or whatever the tools that they're trying to diagnostically evaluate that asset, sometimes there's those, damn, I missed that one moment. So,
oh yeah, if we see them every single day, multiple times a day. Some situations are more dire than others, but even in a situation where a reliability manager has a replacement part for when that part fails, we've seen it where that replacement part goes in and it fails too. And then what do? You
panic and then you move forward.
Exactly. And you don't want your crews standing by waiting for gosh knows how long for that replacement part comes in. And you don't necessarily want to rely on the supplier to be responsible for getting you that part. You want to take an active role and have visibility and control in getting your line back up and running.
So what I hear you saying, and I'll put my manufacturing hat on, I have a damn, I missed that moment in my life. And all I have to do is just call you guys. That's it. Yep. It's like, here it is. This thing failed and it's costing me $1 million an hour, whatever it might be. I need a part yesterday.
That's true.
And no part's too big for you guys.
No. And no part's too little. It's funny because the little ones end up being just as important.
That's exactly correct.
A box of bolts, man. You think that someone could live without a box of bolts, but we've had to do hand carries of a box of bolts across the country before.
But anyway, you guys can handle international all the way down to local, whatever, box of bolted.
Yep, we sure can.
And be able to do it, because I what I hear you saying there, Rebecca, it's a sense of urgency, especially with Uptime Logistics. You recognize the role you play within the world of reliability, and it's all about urgency, getting that asset back up and running, getting that asset churning out whatever widgets it's supposed to be churning out as quickly as possible, or it could be chemicals too as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and our whole business is set up with that in mind, and to streamline that and make it very, very easy for a customer who is in a bad situation to get in touch with the right person 24/7.
What are you saying? Are you saying the fact that these damn, I missed this moment happened at 2 a.m. You're saying I can get a hold of the right person at the right time at 2 a.m.?
Yep. You will be directed to the person who can help you. That person answers the phone. There is no automated phone system. The person who answers the phone is a transportation expert who can work with you on price, time options, and get you what you need anytime.
God. Roll out of bed, you schlep. Start answering my questions now. It's panic time, baby.
That's what we do.
Be focused.
Yep, that's what we do.
I love it, and it's exactly what I'm going to throw this out too. So you've been involved in the manufacturing, all the spaces. Don't get me wrong. I'm just sort of focusing in on manufacturing. So you're focusing on the manufacturing. You're providing these Uptime logistics solutions. But I would imagine that, like you said, these manufacturers cut back so much to try to figure out what's going to happen, what the market is going to look like, all of the components that they got to balance. Now they're trying to start their lines up again, or they let things just sort of slide. Are you seeing a sort of a an increase in the necessity to be able to provide these Uptime logistics solutions?
We are, and there has been some changes too to transportation in our country and in the world, where we've had to even change the way we could move those critical parts too. So we have customers who are coming back online, and they're realizing the maintenance that they put off, or their part that they decided not to order, they need those. And so we are seeing every week more and more companies come back online, more and more companies needing to get back to that output that they were at.
Yeah. And they're looking at data. They're saying, hey, maybe, the economy's turning around. Maybe there's some more or greater demand for the product, whatever they're looking at, they're analyzing it. What if I do you guys do some warehousing, or do you work with companies that, hey, I don't want to buy this motor, or I see that's the motor over there, but I don't want to bring it in. I want to just keep it over there. Do you work with people on solutions like that?
We do. Yeah, we are able to help consult on a variety of supply chain issues, including warehousing
because that's all a part of it.
It is.
I mean, if your Uptime logistics solutions, CAP logistics solutions, the strategies that encompass that massive industry, and if you're able to provide solutions quickly, cost effectively, other strategies, I mean, it's a portfolio. It's like when we start talking about onshoring, reshoring, and nearshoring, right? There's a focus on trying to figure out sort of a portfolio of sourcing solutions. And it could be, okay, we're going to keep some over here in Asia. We're going to put some down here in Mexico, and then we're going to put some over here in the United States. And to be able to sort of do that efficiently. Do you guys do something like that?
Yeah, well, I think having a logistics partner who intimately knows your business and can help you develop that strategy is absolutely paramount, because you may be looking at purchasing and warehousing materials that it really just doesn't make sense for you to have that overhead of that inventory. Some components it does, but
sure. You're absolutely spot on that, yeah.
Right, but if you have a partner where you're able to have that dialogue, and where you know that if I don't have this in inventory, how quickly can I get it to me?
Yes.
How can I leave it at my supplier where I don't have to buy it from the supplier until it makes sense? But I know that I'll be able to get it in a very quick time frame.
Love it.
That's a strategy, and not a bad one.
No, not at all. And especially today. I think that we can't be fat and inefficient with the way we address our logistics supply chain and sourcing. You've got to be efficient. You got to be nimble. You got to be agile. And I don't, honestly, I'm trying to figure out, and I'm trying to poke holes in why I shouldn't engage CAP logistics. I am, but I'm failing miserably.
Well, thank you. We'd love to have the conversation with where we fit in.
Yeah.
Different companies have different strategies. I think a lot of companies look at transportation as an expense, and when they're trying to control that expense, they might be going with a lower cost provider, and that is the strategy. But that low cost provider does come with other costs that may be.
See, I couldn't do it. If I'm over here and I'm, the big wig at Acme Manufacturing, there's no way I would be able to take all of the fluid parts within my, supply chain, logistics, sourcing, and be able to do it myself or within a team that is not engaged in it all the time, because it is a dynamic environment that requires people who are absolutely engaged each and every day.
Yeah, and also that they're engaged with the right carriers, the right assets to move the freight.
Yeah.
want to be working with a trucking company, an airline, who isn't going to damage your product, who isn't going to violate your safety procedures, who isn't going to cause you more headache at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah, see, it's a no-brainer for me. By the way, we're going to have to wrap this up because I can talk about this all day long, and I'm looking at your stat card on LinkedIn, and you're not very engaged out there on LinkedIn.
No, I prefer people relationships, and fewer virtual relationships.
Okay. Well, anyway, hey, how does somebody get a hold of you? Because you might have just said, that's who I want to talk to. Where do I get a hold of you?
Well, you can get a hold of us 24/7, 365. One call solves all at 800-227-2471. Or you can visit us at caplogistics.com, or you can also shoot us an email at info@caplogistics.com.
Easy peasy. So listeners out there, if you think what she's talking about is important to you, reach out, go to Cap Logistics, definitely caplogistics.com, and then the 800. It'll all be out there on industrialtalk.com. So there's no excuse. And there's no excuse to sit there and wallow in your supply chain pain. There she is.
Amen.
Rebecca's got it. And there's Cap Logistics. They've got your back. So there you go. All right, listeners. Hey, Rebecca, this was fun. Thank you very much.
Super fun. Thank you, Scott.
Very cool. And listeners, do not go away. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right. What did I tell you? Rebecca Kersting, Kersting. Now, she has a great stat card out on LinkedIn, but however, she doesn't use it. She only has a few followers. You know where you can get a hold of her? That's right. caplogistics.com. And that's where you're going to go, right? And I'll have all the other contact information out on industrialtalk.com, right? So, again, I'm going to challenge you. You need to collaborate, innovate, and educate each and every day. You got to do it with a sense of speed. But I challenge you to hang out with people that are pro-collaboration, pro-innovation, pro-education. And I'm telling you right now, your life will be changing. Your outlook on life will be changed. This whole whatever we're going through right now will look differently because you're hanging out with people who want to solve problems. Cap Logistics is a great example of that. All right, be bold, be brave, dare greatly, change the world. That's what we're all about. So we'll talk later with another incredible interview on the Industrial Talk Podcast.